everyone, a very warm good afternoon to one and all present over here. I am back again with a wonderful session of IELTS practice test, where I'm here to guide you by solving questions on how you can cater to questions in your IELTS module. Also, I'm helping you in order to give you all the insights and strategies that can help you ace your desired band score in your IELTS examination. So let's get started without wasting any further time. Before starting up, I would like to let you know that today I'm starting off with the speaking section. And in that speaking section, I'll be dealing with all the 3 modules, and I'll be telling you how to plan and plot all the modules and go ahead with a proper response. So come on, be quick and let me know that who all of you were waiting and actually excited for the session. Hello Ajay, how are you? I hope you're doing good. So today, let's get started. So the topics that I'll be covering is definitely speaking introduction. Again, I would be telling you and guiding you how you can move ahead with the further question. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and definitely with the solution and the timing that has been allocated to you and how you can use that particular time slot or the time that has been provided to you effectively in order to come up with the proper response that the examiner is looking for. Okay, chalo. Now, first of all, we have Part 1. Part 1 of speaking, if you are new here and if you don't know anything about speaking and all that, so let me just brief it up to you. If you guys are preparing for your IELTS examination, speaking consists of like 3 sections, or you can say 3 tasks. Task 1, or you can say Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. Part 1 is majorly of like 4 to 5 minutes, and in total it's like 11 to 15 minutes of examination. Acha, one thing, if I have already told you, then that's okay, but agar nahi pata hai, to let me just brief it up to you. Recently, like there is a, not recent, but yes, there is a change in the execution of the examination. ऐसा समझ लो. If you guys are going for CBT, which is computer based test, तो उसको याद रखना. Don't feel like at the end of the day कि examination hall में पहुंचो and you're gonna get this surprise and you're flabbergasted that ये क्या हो रहा है. तो it's better you should know that beforehand if you're going for CBT, which is computer based test. ठीक है. अगर आप इसके लिए जा रहे हो तो आपका जो स्पीकिंग टास्क होगा वो होगा वर्चुअली. That's going to be virtually, and LWRS सब एक ही दिन पे होगा. You can have like speaking before or maybe at the end of the examination. So this is something that can happen. ठीक है? And then LWR will follow. But if you're going for PBT, ठीक है? PBT क्या होता है? Which is pen paper based test. ठीक है. पेन पेपर बेस्ड टेस्ट होता है तो वहां पे आपका 101 होता है. (101) सेशन ऑफ स्पीकिंग विद एग्जामिनर, जहां पे आपका स्पीकिंग होता है. इट कैन बी लाइक देयर इज अ डेट डिफाइंड फॉर LWR. तो फॉर एग्जांपल योर LWR इज ऑन सम अदर डे एंड योर स्पीकिंग इज गोइंग टू बी ईदर अ डे बिफोर और अ डे आफ्टर योर LWR. ठीक है, विच इज लिसनिंग, राइटिंग एंड रीडिंग. ठीक है, तो ये होता है. तो इफ यू आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ इट, देन जस्ट हैव अ क्विक लुक टू इट सो दैट यू प्रैक्टिस अकॉर्डिंगली. ठीक है, हालांकि कोई स्ट्रक्चर में चेंज नहीं होता है, क्वेश्चन टाइप में चेंज नहीं होती है, कैटेगरीज में चेंज नहीं होता है, बट जस्ट टू बी ऑन द सेफर साइड, जस्ट टू बी अवेयर ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चरिंग एंड ऑल दैट, आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू दैट दिस इज द एग्जैक्ट स्ट्रक्चरिंग दैट इज बीन फॉलोड बाय द बॉडी दैट टेक्स अप द IELTS एग्जामिनेशन. ठीक है, चलो ये समझ आ गया. ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट एंटायरली मैं वापस से बता दे रही हूँ, इट इज 11 to 14 minutes of test. It can be 15 as well, depending upon the examiner entirely. To which आपका जो part 1 होता है, your part 1 is like majorly of like 4 to 5 minutes similarly, and part 2 आपका होता है, part 2 आपका somewhat होता है like 2 to 3 minutes का होता है, and part 3 आपका again 4 to 5 minutes का होता है. ठीक है, तो दिस इज द टाइम जोन. अब ये कोई फिक्स टाइम जोन आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू गिव यू, ये कोई फिक्स टाइम नहीं है, दैट ओनली दिस इज द टाइम जोन दैट इज बीन एलोकेटेड, जरूरी नहीं है, इट कैन वेरी, इट कैन फ्लक्चुएट अगेन डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द क्वेश्चन. इज जस्ट दैट हाउ इट कैन फ्लक्चुएट. देखो, एग्जामिनर इज देयर टू टेस्ट योर फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द लैंग्वेज. व्हाट फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी of the language. तो एग्जामिनर को क्या चाहिए, इज लाइक हाउ फ्लेक्सिबल यू आर विद द पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज. फ्लेक्सिबल का मतलब अब जान लो, फ्लेक्सिबल का मतलब होता है कि जैसे कि आप मल्टीपल क्वेश्चंस, लाइक अगर मैं आपसे मल्टीपल कैटेगरीज पे क्वेश्चंस पूछूं तो हाउ गुड एंड हाउ वेल वर्स्ड यू आर एट द टाइम ऑफ कमिंग अप विद अ रिस्पॉन्स. ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट आई मीन व्हेन आई से फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी. तो डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ कैटेगरीज में क्वेश्चन, डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन को आप आंसर कैसे करोगे, दैट इज समथिंग दैट्स बीन डेल्ट बाय द एग्जामिनर. दिस इज व्हाट ही इज कंसर्न्ड विद. ठीक है, चलो, वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून शारदा, आई होप यू आर डूइंग गुड, वेलकम टू द सेशन. ठीक है, चलो, ये हो गया, समझ में आ गया. 11 to 14 मिनट्स का टाइम होता है, थ्री पार्ट्स होते हैं, इन विच यू आर गोइंग टू गेट टाइम टू प्रिपेयर फॉर योर रिस्पॉन्स ओनली इन पार्ट 2. सिर्फ पार्ट 2 में ही आपको प्रिपरेशन का टाइम मिलता है, अदरवाइज मेजरली इन पार्ट 1 एंड पार्ट 3 यू डोंट यूजुअली गेट टाइम टू प्रिपेयर. अदरवाइज यू कैन बोरो सम टाइम फ्रॉम द एग्जामिनर, दैट्स टोटली योर टेक. ठीक है, there are a lot of things that it's totally dependent upon you how you are going to tackle the entire environment. ठीक है, तो फर्स्ट पार्ट इज मेजरली अ सोर्स ऑफ इंट्रोडक्शन. ठीक है, कि जब आप फर्स्ट पार्ट से डील करते हो वो इंट्रोडक्टरी होता है, जस्ट टू मेक यू कंफर्टेबल फॉर दैट एंटायर सिनेरियो, जस्ट टू मेक यू कंफर्टेबल. गुड आफ्टरनून सुमित, वेलकम टू दिस सेशन. ओके, तो जो फर्स्ट पार्ट होता है वो इंट्रोडक्शन होता है. इट इज लाइक एंटायरली टू मेक यू कंफर्टेबल इन दैट एनवायरमेंट, बिकॉज एवरीवन इज अवेयर ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट थोड़ी बहुत नर्वसनेस होती है, थोड़ी बहुत एंजाइटी होती है, तो जस्ट टू गेट रिड ऑफ इट. ठीक है, चलो, आफ्टर दैट फर्स्ट पार्ट इज लाइक, इन फर्स्ट पार्ट यू डोंट नीड टू गिव अ लॉट ऑफ लेंथी आंसर्स. इट्स लाइक समथिंग विच इज नॉट इवन डिमांडेड ऑफ यू, and it is not recommended eventually that you can come up with a long and lengthy answers and make it complex at the same time. Don't do that. Just come up with a precise and concise answer at the same time, so that it's like whatever the question is being asked to you, just answer to the point and just answer what is being entirely asked. You don't need to elaborate the answers a lot and exaggerate upon it a lot. ठीक है, दिस इज द फैक्ट. चलो, आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट पार्ट 1. हियर वी गॉट पार्ट 1, एंड पार्ट 1 में वी गॉट, सी अगेन आई एम प्रेजेंटिंग ऑफ द क्वेश्चन ओवर हियर बिकॉज आई हैव टेकन इट फ्रॉम द कैम्ब्रिज सीरीज. Very good afternoon, ma'am. I hope you're having a pleasant day. Very good afternoon, Sayesh. Yes, I am having a pleasant day. I hope you're having a pleasant day too. ठीक है, चलो, पार्ट 1 हो गया ना. दिस इज अ सॉर्ट ऑफ विजुअल प्रेजेंटेशन. दिस इज नॉट हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू रिसीव इट इन योर एग्जामिनेशन, पहले बता दे रही हूँ. ठीक है, जस्ट डोंट हैव दिस काइंड ऑफ मिसकंसेप्शन कि आपको ऐसे एक पीस ऑफ पेपर मिलेगा उसमें ऐसे लिखा होगा. नो, बिकॉज आई हैव टेकन इट फ्रॉम द कैम्ब्रिज सीरीज. इट्स लाइक दिस इज हाउ इट गोज. ठीक है, ऐसे क्वेश्चन फ्रेम्ड होते हैं, एंड दिस इज हाउ द एग्जामिनर इज गोइंग टू आस्क यू द क्वेश्चन. अगेन इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द एग्जामिनर ऑन हाउ दे वांट टू प्रोसीड डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द स्ट्रक्चर. ठीक है, चलो. The examiner asks candidate about himself or herself, his or her home, work, studies, or other familiar topics. The very first thing, the very first introduction sort of a thing is like, hello, my name is this. What's your full name? And what can I call you? May I see your identification? Now these questions are very common. Common क्या मतलब होता ही होता है. Of course they have to be, because that's like ये introduction के भी पहले का part होता है जहाँ पे examiner is looking forward for your identification in order to check your documents properly, whether you are having a real identification or not. Just a verification process उसके लिए होते हैं. For this part you are not being marked. The moment the examiner is going to start the timer, the moment the examiner is going to tell you that now I'm going to start off with the test, from that moment your calculation of the marks or providing you a proper band starts. ठीक है, क्लियर हो गया. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now this for example health. Now examiner can take any topic. तो जो topic होते हैं ना, basically for part 1 it's majorly for like related to family, health, daily routine, work, study, hobby. Okay. Free time activity, and so on. It is going to be entirely dedicated to you. If you want to deal with task 1, then you have to make sure that you are aware of yourself. ठीक है, आपको खाने में क्या पसंद है, what kind of hobby do you practice, आपको पढ़ने में क्या पसंद है, what kind of book do you like to read, what kind of games do you like to play, what are the things that you would like to do when you are in free time or leisure time, or what's your recreational pursuit when you are free, or something like that. Majorly the first part is entirely based on what you like, or what you perceive, or how you do things, and how you practice things, and how you go ahead, and what are the places you like to travel, with whom you like to travel, with friends or family, and all that. It's really very important for you to know yourself before moving ahead and dealing with speaking task 1. Be aware of yourself. Okay? ठीक है, चलो. What's the first question? पहले देख लेंगे. Is it important to you to eat healthy food? Why not? As mentioned previously, in my previous sessions I have already mentioned कि whenever you are going to deal with speaking task 1, the very first thing is, let me just make it clear, examiner has nothing to do with what you say. It is important to have a healthy diet. If it is a yes, then also okay. If it is a no, you like to eat junk food, then also okay. Examiner is not going to judge you depending upon your diet, depending upon your body shape, depending upon your personality, depending upon your looks, depending upon your dress sense, and depending upon your personality and all that. He has nothing to do with that. But yes, at the same time, make sure if you're going for a one-on-one session to the examiner, make sure you're quite presentable. Now, this is something out of the box I'm telling you, but yes, at the same time, it's going to help you in order to ace your examination, because eventually speaking तो important है, but with speaking, your body language, facial expression, hand gesture, body movement, everything is being taken into consideration. तो इसको neglect मत करना. Do not avoid it, because at the same time presentation be important hai. Dressing sense is at the same time very important, because how you're presenting yourself, like what I'm trying to say is the presentation at the front of in front of the examiner, right? Definitely you cannot just go casually in front of him, right? ठीक है, तो ये चीजें बहुत ध्यान से you have to cater to this. At the same time, body language, facial expression, hand gesture has to be there in a proper manner. And when I say facial expression, I mean you don't have to be a lot of expressive, you don't have to be a lot expressive, but at the same time, when you are defining a scenario of which you're very happy of, or it's going to be very sad or something that you don't like, that needs to be there in your phrase. Make sure your voice or your answers are not very monotonous at the time of presentation. Okay? It doesn't have to be monotonous. It doesn't seem like you're just being forced to do something or to answer, certain kind of a question. It doesn't seem like that. So make sure to present it nicely. If you don't want to be way too expressive, just be neutral and normal and answer accordingly. ठीक है, तो ये चीजें एट द सेम टाइम बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आई नो इट्स नॉट गोना प्ले अ मेजर इम्पैक्ट ऑन योर बैंड स्कोर, बट येस इट इज गोइंग टू प्ले सम काइंड ऑफ एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन योर बैंड स्कोर. ठीक है, तो इस चीज का ध्यान देना. चलो, now, is it important? It is important to you to eat healthy food. Why and why not? Why and why not is there. So it means you have to come up with a reason without, and do not wait for the examiner that he's going to ask you the reason again. He has asked you one time. If it is not clear to you, then you can definitely ask the examiner to repeat the question, or to come up again with it's going to be happen. It might be possible that you might not be able to understand the question at one go, or you might need the examiner to repeat the question. Even that is okay, fair enough, you can do that. So इस चीज का ध्यान रखना. If it is not clear to you, you have the liability. You are entirely allowed to ask the question to the examiner if he can repeat it again. Okay, so it is something which is good, and that shows that you are actually interested in going ahead with the conversation. Okay, chalo. Now the answer to this is yes. Eating healthy food is very important to me. Now यहाँ पे important लिखा है, यहाँ पे भी important लिखा है, and यहाँ पे भी important आप लिख रहे हो. तो make sure, try to paraphrase it. You can paraphrase it, definitely. You can write significant, crucial, key, paramount, significant, and a lot of words that are there. At least 3 to 4 तो याद होने ही चाहिए. Like rare of the rarest case, like in minimum level 3 to 4 तो याद होने चाहिए. Maximum as much as you can, it's totally your take. ठीक है, चलो. Yes, eating healthy food or having a healthy appetite is very significant to me. For a reason, it helps me feel energetic, keeps my body in a good shape, okay, keeps me fit. When I eat nutritious meal, I feel better physically and mentally, which allows me to be more productive throughout the day. This is the entire answer that you can come up with. No extra exaggeration, no extra elaboration, बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं. Like, you know, let's suppose there are a lot of people I know, वो ऐसा लगता है कि हम out of the box नहीं जा रहे, but eventually ऐसा हो जाता है, and intentionally or unintentionally, कि for example you're talking about a healthy diet and वहीं से deviate होते you went and you started presenting that having like junk food or something, it's not very good because it's like it contains a lot of preservative and packed food are not good. That is something which has not been asked to you. अगर वो पूछा गया होता, you would have answered that's something really good. But ये पूछा नहीं गया है, ठीक है? तो क्या करना है? Just इतना बताना है कि आपके लिए healthy food consume करना important है कि नहीं है, that's all. So it is important. Now why it is important? Because it keeps me fit physically, it keeps me fit mentally and helps me to be productive the entire day, and that's the end of the answer. ठीक है, चलो अब आ जाते हैं दूसरे क्वेश्चन में. what's the second question that we are having? If you catch a cold, what do you do to help you feel better and why? Always remember there is a need of a little bit of justification to your answer that gives the answer to a good complete sense. ठीक है, तो वो बहुत complete करता है आपके आंसर को. And now again, why is it important to complete your answer? It is important to complete your answer because task achievement is the parameter in which you are being judged. ठीक है, चलो आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. ठीक है, if I catch a cold, I usually rest as much as possible and drink plenty of warm fluids. काढ़ा मत बोल देना please. ठीक है, तो I usually say that stay away from using Hindi words. अगर कोई चीज़ है जिसको हम सिर्फ हिंदी में ही बुला सकते हैं, इंग्लिश में नहीं बुला सकते, या इसका कोई नाम नहीं इंग्लिश में, या यू आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ द फैक्ट कि उसका कोई इंग्लिश नाम है, समथिंग लाइक दैट, एनी ऑफ द सिनेरियो, प्लीज ट्राई टू अवॉइड हिंदी वर्ड. मार्क्स और बैंड्स वहाँ पे डिडक्ट हो सकते हैं, चांसेस हैं. इंग्लिश की प्रोफिशिएंसी चेक की जा रही है वहाँ पे, कंटेंट नहीं चेक किया जा रहा है. तो इट्स बेटर जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ डिलीवरी ऑफ द कंटेंट एंड द एक्यूरेसी ऑफ द कंटेंट, इसलिए नहीं कि आप हिंदी का वर्ड यूज कर लोगे, राइट? तो मेक श्योर यू डू नॉट यूज दैट. क्लियर? तो ड्रिंक प्लेंटी ऑफ वार्म फ्लूइड्स लाइक हर्बल टी. काढ़ा को वी से हर्बल टी, ठीक है, और हॉट soup. Instead, you can use these words in order to, just, complete the sense, or if you want to actually use these things. Okay? This helps me to stay hydrated and soothes my throat. I also take vitamin C supplement to boost my immune system and recover faster. Okay? This is how you have mentioned, like if you catch cold, that how you cater to that and how you deal with that. Okay? Next question क्या है? Do you pay attention to public information about health? Do you? So if yes, then yes. Yes, I do pay attention to public health information. Acha, one more thing. If you want to just repeat what the examiner has said, make sure you try to paraphrase it. ठीक है? Exactly वही चीज repeat मत करना, otherwise you are not contributing anything to the answer, right? It's just that whatever the examiner has asked, you have just repeated the very same thing. ठीक है, तो वो मत करना. What you can rather do is you can just come up with a response and उसको आप paraphrase कर लो. If you want to repeat the same thing, just paraphrase it so that it gives entire skill of yours, and it gives a sense of creativity of yours that you have actually contributed in the answer, and you have not just repeated it. ठीक है, चलो. Pay attention to public health information because it keeps me informed about health risk and way to stay healthy. For example, again, example will work as an icing on the cake or cherry on top if you're going to add on to that. ठीक है, चलो. Flu season, I follow advice on how to prevent getting sick, which helps me protect myself and those around me because it's a viral disease. Chalo. What could you do to have a healthier lifestyle? To have a healthier lifestyle, I could exercise more regularly and make sure I get enough sleep every night. While I eat healthy most of the time, I could also reduce my intake of sugary foods, ठीक है, these changes would improve my overall well-being and energy level. ठीक है, एक चीज I would like to tell you over here, sugary is a kind of a word that defines any food that contains a lot of sugar. ठीक है, जो बहुत ज्यादा like एक एवरेज मीठे तो बहुत ज्यादा हो जाता है, that is known as sugary. But when the average amount of sweet is like moderate and average and it's like what is needed, उसको हम sweet कहते हैं. Sweet and sugary is like that contains a lot of sugar or something like that which is more than that. ठीक है, more than the average sugar. चलो अब आ जाते हैं पार्ट 2 में. इफ यू नो अबाउट दिस देन पार्ट 2 इज अ क्यू कार्ड पार्ट. ठीक है, इसको हम क्यू कार्ड कहते हैं. नाउ दिस इज अ सॉर्ट ऑफ पीस ऑफ पेपर और अ कार्ड दैट इज बीन प्रोवाइडेड टू यू इन ऑर्डर टू कम अप विद द रिस्पॉन्स. ठीक है, यू विल हैव 1 minute टू प्रिपेयर ऑन द टॉपिक एंड देन यू हैव टू कम अप विद द रिस्पॉन्स अकॉर्डिंगली. ठीक है, अब क्या है, डिस्क्राइब एन ओकेजन व्हेन यू हैड टू वेट अ लॉन्ग टाइम फॉर समवन और समथिंग टू अराइव. नाउ दिस इज द बेसिक इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट द टॉपिक दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एट द टाइम ऑफ कमिंग अप विद द रिस्पॉन्स. ठीक है, तो ये है एक बेसिक इंफॉर्मेशन जो जरूरी है ना. दीज आर द बुलेट पॉइंटर्स जो आपको आंसर करना है. नाउ देयर आर सर्टेन थिंग्स दैट यू नीड टू टेक केयर इज लाइक दे हैव टू बी इन सीक्वेंस. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले प्लान कर लेंगे. हाउ यू कैन प्लान इज यू कैन प्लान इट लाइक दिस. सो आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू साइक्लिक डायग्राम, आई गेस साइक्लिक डायग्राम एंड अ फ्लो चार्ट डायग्राम जिसके थ्रू यू कैन प्लान एंड ऑर्गेनाइज योर आंसर्स. दैट इफ यू कैन जस्ट हैव अ लुक एट माय प्रीवियस सेशन, आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू दैट. ठीक है, तो कैसे बताया मैंने कि डिस्क्राइब एन ओकेजन, एक ओकेजन के बारे में बताना है व्हेन यू हैव टू वेट अ लॉन्ग टाइम फॉर समवन और समथिंग. नाउ इट कैन बी अ पर्सन और इट कैन बी अ थिंग. चूज योर थिंग, चूज योर the thing that you want to choose precisely. If you want to talk about a person, you can talk about a person. You can, if you want to talk about a thing, you can talk about a thing. Totally your thing. ठीक है, चलो, who or what you were waiting for, how long you had to wait. So सबसे पहले ये चीज ध्यान रखना कि that your answers are going to be in sequence. So do not try to at the time of your planning, make sure you write your answers or plan your answers accordingly in certain manner that your answers look in a sequence. And you, because after the 1 minute is being completed, your cue card has been taken away from you. So it's like you're left with not even a single question with you. ठीक है, so it's like when you're planning, you have to make sure that you plan accordingly and precisely so that it becomes very easy for you to cater to the question. ठीक है, ये हो गया. तो who were you waiting? You're waiting for your friend. यहाँ पे लिख दिया friend. ठीक है, you were waiting for your friend. Okay, and how long you had to wait? You can just how long पूछा है तो because they need a time zone, so like 2 to 3 hours or 2 to 4 hours or how much you can write. Why you had to wait for so long? friend है, friend का नाम लिख दिया यहाँ पे, it will work. ठीक है, additional information में if you are actually catering to the question, अगर question के हिसाब से you want to go ahead, you can add information, fair enough, you can add it as much as you want. आपको 2 minutes तक बोलना है. In order to complete that 2 minutes, you can elaborate on your responses depending upon the question. ठीक है, why you had to wait a long time? Because you might have stuck in the traffic की वजह से there was a possibility that we had to wait. And explain how you felt about waiting a long time. You have to talk about the feeling, how you felt, like excited or anxious or having an anxiety or annoyed or angry or whatever the feeling you felt. You have to just explain that in the particular question. ठीक है, अब इसका एक रिस्पॉन्स देख लेते हैं. लेट्स हैव अ क्विक लुक एट द रिस्पॉन्स. वन ओकेजन व्हेन आई हैड टू वेट फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम वाज अबाउट अ ईयर अगो. ओके, दैट्स ग्रेट. अबाउट अ ईयर अगो व्हेन आई वाज वेटिंग फॉर अ फ्रेंड टू पिक मी अप at the airport. I had just returned from a business trip and I had a lot of luggage with me. My friend Alex, now here's the name of the friend mentioned. My friend Alex had promised to pick me up on time, so I decided to wait outside the arrival area. I ended up waiting for about 2 hours, which felt like an eternity, especially because I was exhausted from the flight and I just wanted to get home. I didn't know why Alex was late and I couldn't reach him on his phone either. ठीक है, which made me feel a bit anxious. I was later that I found out there had been a huge traffic jam due to an accident on the main road leading to the airport. Now, how beautifully the reason, the topic covering and everything is being given. No repetition of the idea, no repetition of the entire word is being done. During the wait, I felt a mix of emotion. At first, I was just tired and hope he would show up soon. But as time went on, I became frustrated and a bit annoyed. However, I also understood that traffic is unpredictable and it wasn't entirely his fault. I tried to keep myself occupied by reading a book on my phone, but it was hard to concentrate. When Alex finally arrived, he apologized profusely, and I could see he was stressed as well. Although it was a long and tiring wait, I felt relieved and grateful to finally be on my way home. Okay? So this is how you can come up with the proper response. You don't have to sound way too lengthy. It's just that जो भी questions दिए हैं, you just need to answer them properly. That exactly needs to cater to the answers. That exactly needs to cater to the questions. So whatever the question is being given, आपने उसका proper justification दिया है कि नहीं. It is something you don't have to talk about out in the smoke or out in the air or something like that. Try not to do that and make sure you come up with the responses properly and accurately. Repetition नहीं करना है at the same time. Make sure you keep that in mind. ठीक है? चलो. Now let's talk about part 3. Now this part 3 has to be a bit lengthy because part 2, it is somewhat related to part 2 as I have already told you. So वो part 2 से related होता but not entirely related depending upon, it's like a two-way communication between you and the examiner. ठीक है, तो ये ऐसे ही होता है majorly. चलो एक example दे देते हैं. In what kind of situation should people always arrive early? Now part 3 is a bit थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लेक्स हो जाता है बिकॉज हियर यू आर गोइंग टू गेट क्वेश्चन बेस्ड ऑन योर ओपिनियन और एक्सपीरियंसेस. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे आपके ओपिनियंस और एक्सपीरियंसेस के बेस पे क्वेश्चंस दे आर गोइंग टू गिव यू एंड एक्सपेक्ट द सेम. ठीक है, सेकेंड है हाउ इम्पॉर्टेंट इज टू अराइव इन योर कंट्री. हाउ कैन मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी हेल्प पीपल टू अराइव अर्ली अकॉर्डिंग टू यू. So people should ideally arrive early in situations where punctuality is crucial, such as job interviews, exams, and flights. Arriving early demonstrates respect for others' time and allows individual to prepare mentally. It is especially important for professional settings as it creates positive first impression. Second, so always remember, जहाँ पे you don't have a lot of data to present, you can just take the help of the examples because examples are the best way to give a justification and a validation to a certain pointers that you are presenting at that time. ठीक है, तो it's one of the best way. I usually say that in writing or in speaking as well. So if you're dealing with writing section or if you're dealing with speaking section, it's important for you to take note of it that if you are not able to define a certain topic, even if it is that okay, but if you're going to add an example to it, it's going to add icing on the cake. It's going to work like that. Okay, chalo. How important is to arrive early in your country? In my country, arriving early is generally viewed as a sign of respect and responsibility, especially in form of professional settings. However, socially people are often more relaxed and being a few minutes late is usually tolerated. Nevertheless, arriving early is still appreciated and can help avoid unnecessary stress. On top of that, make sure you're using good connectors and making complex sentences. ठीक है, तो it's like eventually it comes up with a really good impression and it definitely helps you in order to attain a good band score at the end of the day. ठीक है, चलो. How can modern technology help people to arrive early? Modern technology such as GPS navigation app and real-time traffic updates can be incredibly helpful for arriving early. Apps like Google Maps can suggest the fastest route and give notification about delays, allowing people to adjust their plan if needed. Additionally, calendar apps with reminders can help people manage their time better and avoid forgetting important appointments. So this is how an answer needs to be framed and structured in your speaking section. If you're not getting this kind of an answer, if you fail to provide this kind of an answer, it's totally fine, कोई issue नहीं है. Whatever you are comfortable with, whatever you are capable for, you need to try to work accordingly. Okay? It's not like examiner is demanding for a perfect English speaker or a native speaker, something like that. No, it's just that you need to be grammatically accurate to complete the question, provide sentence structure with are accurate in nature and actually make sense, provide example for justification, and give reason to your answer. At the same time, equality of the content, and at the same time, very important when I say equality of the content. For example, if you have 2 pointers you have taken into consideration, or 3 pointers if you are planning to present, make sure you give equal justification to all the 3 pointers, and do not end up providing just one liner to the first pointer and then giving a detail of the next 2 pointers, right? So it is something that I would like you to work upon if you are lacking in these terms. At the same time, topic specific vocab plays a very prominent role. So if you don't have to learn a lot of vocabulary, and on top of that, if you're going to use idioms or phrasal verbs, that's going to be amazing. Okay, you can start off with an idiom, you can start off with a phrasal verb, you can add them in between of your presentation. That looks like you're actually very familiar with the language, and it's something that you are habitual with. Okay, so these are the things that are going to help you eventually in order to ace your good band score. Okay. So yes, that's all. Thank you so much for you all for being here. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope this is going to help you. And yes, that's all. Thank you so much, and all the very best to all the students who are preparing for your IELTS examination. I'm going to see you in the next session. Till then, bye-bye. Take care. See you in the next session. Bye.